Welcome to the Midweek Tease with me, Adelle Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, let's talk about your fear of being seen. And I know that this is something that many of us carry very quietly. I carry it too. You know, the fear of being seen, the fear of being seen trying, the fear of being visible in our messy middle. You know what I mean? Like not glammed up, everything looking perfect, messy middle. The fear of showing up imperfectly and having people watch that. No matter how frivolous or serious the thing is. So it can range from you posting a video of you dancing or just a photo of you barefaced, no makeup, or you posting about a business you've just started, you know, when you've not made one sale. Like it stretches across that entire spectrum. And I completely get it. I feel like it is a fear I am actively in conversation with myself. And it's a fear that makes sense, you know. We live in a culture, especially as African women, where we're taught to perform our best self, not to become our best self in public. Trying means there's a chance that we might fail, and failure, we have been conditioned to see that as shameful. So what we do is we hide our first attempts. We stay small until we're perfect. But then something I am really aware of is that perfection never comes because perfection just doesn't exist. And this fear of being seen or fear of being seen trying really limits us. I want you to think about the things you've always wanted to try. A new business idea, learn a new sport, learn an instrument, speaking in a room where you don't know anyone, posting your art. How many of those things have you put on pause because of what people might say if you looked awkward or if you made mistakes or if you weren't good yet? For example, I'm learning how to play the drums, and I used to be and still am very scared of posting up videos of me drumming because in my head I'm like, I'm not good enough yet. I think I just need to keep learning and then only post when I'm perfect, you know? It's only until I think last year I started posting my drumming videos even when there was a mistake. Like I was just like, fuck it. How the heck do you guys think people learn, you know? And it doesn't help that sometimes there'll be people in the comments. I remember there was this one comment that was like, oh, you've put your drum arrangement wrong. And I was just like, whatever, it's working for me. Even with my gardening, right? Like I've never farmed. I've never grown my own vegetables until now. When I put up the videos, I love sharing the progress, but there is a part of me that is scared because I just feel like maybe I'm doing something wrong. And you know, the internet, there's always going to be people who'll be like, well, that's not how to, you know what I mean? And with an attitude, not even like with love. But you know what? I've started to just keep doing things even when I'm scared because I have really understood how this fear of being seen limits us. And I think there's like 4 top things it robs us of. It robs us of opportunities we could grow into. It robs us of communities we could connect with. Because let me tell you, my gardening videos, my drumming videos, I have connected with people who are learning things as well. Maybe other instruments or same instruments. People who are not learning instruments will share with me a really good drumming tutorial. You know what I mean? So this fear could rob you of communities that you could connect with. The third thing it could rob you of is skills we could build. Because if you don't start, my goodness, you will never build the skill. You will never build the business. You will never learn the sport. You will not improve on your art because you're going to stop painting altogether or singing altogether. The last thing it robs us of is joy. Oh my God, the joy we could experience simply from doing the thing. Drumming is my happy place. Gardening is my happy place. I get so much joy when I harvest and I'm able to share with people. Can you imagine if I sat and thought, I do not want to, be seen trying to farm or trying to drum or trying to build a new media business. The joy I've received from all of these spaces, oh my God, it outweighs the fear. The fear is there, but the joy is so much more. I think if you let the fear limit you, it's like you're living your whole life on mute. In trying to figure out how to handle this fear, I had to figure out where the heck does it come from. And I realized that this fear is often rooted in four things: perfectionism, which is heavily pushed on social media. We think our first try must look like somebody else's 10th. There are times, I'll keep with this drumming example, right? There are times I will see other drummers, like these rock drummers, these one I follow on TikTok. And I'm even just like, maybe like my camera positioning is wrong. And I was like, what the fuck are you telling yourself, Adele? What the hell? You like where you put your camera. Why are you looking at this like professional and being like, oh, now something's wrong with me? And there's really nothing like perfection. I just hate that a tool like social media that has so much capacity to connect us and help us see and love diversity. Instead, what it's done is made us feel like we have to look perfect. We have to be perfect. You know, our lives have to appear perfect because, again, perfection doesn't exist. I think the second thing the fear is often rooted in is past embarrassment. You know, moments where you felt humiliated in front of others. And so you're just like, fuck that. I am not going to risk embarrassment again. The other thing it's rooted in is comparison. We're constantly measuring ourselves against other people who are farther along in their journey or on a completely different journey altogether. Comparison, they say, is the thief of joy. And honestly, it really is. And the other thing that this fear is rooted in is cultural expectations. And I add this one because I am a woman, and not just that, I am an African woman. And we're often told to get it right quietly and then emerge polished. Like there's so much pressure for us to not fuck up publicly, to not be seen trying, to always know. You know what I mean? And that's just not rational, practical, feasible, or real. That's not how life works, you know? And so I thought I could share with you 5 tips that could help you overcome the fear of being seen trying. The first one is to start small and with low stakes. You know, you don't need to start on the big stage. Start where the risk feels lighter. You know, start with a small audience, a safe room, a trusted circle. You could, let's say, if it's about you posting about your new business or even posting your artwork, etc. You could have you know those green circles on Instagram. What are they called? Is it like a private circle? I don't have one of them, but like you can have stories that only a select few people see. And maybe you could start posting there with a small audience, and that's a safe room and a trusted circle. And it's people who care about you. So pick people who, you know, you always feel safe around, and try sharing something imperfect with them. I think that's the first action or homework you can give yourself. Try something imperfect in a low stakes space this week, and then try it again the week after and the week after. And slowly you start building that muscle that will move you towards sharing it with people who you don't even know. The second tip is reframe. Instead of using the word trying, which I've just been using, let's change it to becoming, right? So instead of seeing trying as a sign of incompetence, you know, people will say, and I always correct people I meet who maybe have launched a business or are doing something incredible. And I say, oh my God, look at you, congratulations. And they say, oh, you know, I'm just trying. And I'm always just like, you're not trying, you are doing, you know, because trying shows like a reduction of like, oh, I'm just, you know, I'm not really in it. You know what I mean? And so, how's about we change that to being something bigger? I am becoming something that has confidence and courage, and just reframe that trying becomes becoming, and you're becoming someone new Does that make sense? The third thing is to create gentle witnesses. So surround yourself with people who don't expect perfection from you, who cheer you on for the messy middle, And this is where, to reference last week's episode, chosen community is powerful, right? I have my best friend who, man, she cheers me on. Even the days I'm just like, man, babe, business is really difficult, or I'm chasing this deal and I'm scared and I'm nervous, and she knows all of that and will cheer me on regardless, like loudly, and just always remind me of how worthy I am, even in the moments where I think I'm not perfect. So, yeah, your chosen community is very powerful. They play a huge role and they will be your gentle witnesses. The fourth tip is to seek stories of imperfection. This is one of my favorite tips. Listen to podcasts, read books, watch talks by people who you admire who are sharing their first awkward, messy attempts, right? It makes the journey normal to you. Like, I recently was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast and I shared it with my friend Daisy. Let me look for the link actually. I'll put the link of that episode in the show notes. And it was this guy who was talking about how at a point early in his journey, and it's funny because he's a podcaster and he started podcasting like way before anybody knew what it was. I think he's turning 12, 13 or 14 years old in the podcasting space. And he was talking about how earlier before that, there was a point he had an injury, so he couldn't play football anymore. He was down and out, living on his sister's couch, I believe. He talks about the awkwardness of beginning something new and the fear. And I just remember I was driving while listening to this episode, and everything he was saying was just affirming my journey and affirming my fears, my financial fears, affirming my fears about starting a new business, just affirming so many things. And it was things that I thought I was the only one feeling because I wasn't good enough. And here's this person in a completely different continent, completely different cultural context, race, gender, and he's feeling these things. And he's sharing that he felt these same things that I'm feeling. Do you know how affirming that was? So make sure you surround yourself with people who are talking real shit, about their journey, about their attempts, right? Because if all you follow are creators online who are hell bent on proving to you that their life is perfect, you're going to feel terrible about your own journey. You're going to feel like your journey is not normal when in reality, the creator is showing you an act and your life is the real shit. And so the last tip, this one is really important. Celebrate the act, not the outcome. A lot of times we don't celebrate the steps we're taking. We celebrate the outcome. So for example, if it's posting your artwork, we will celebrate how many people engaged with that video, that picture, etc., and not the act of you overcoming this fear of being seen and posting your artwork. That is deserving of celebration. That is deserving of applause, right? That is the win. Every time you show up, even imperfectly, celebrate that. And I hope these tips and this deep dive into the fear of being seen helps you. I feel like if you wait to be perfect before you're seen, you will spend your life hiding, Trying in public is not embarrassing, it's brave. And every person you admire started exactly where you are at the beginning. And so the one question I'm going to leave you with to answer on your own time is, what would I try if I didn't care about being seen in the process? Sit with that one. Sit with that one. And if you felt that this episode spoke to you, gave you some insight, make sure you share it with someone who's ready to stop hiding and start living. Thanks for listening to the Midweek Tease, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.